Alright, here at the Rivera Rec, aka the Oven, Lenny DeVictoria, trainer Billy Briscoe. Got a big fight coming up Friday night, gentlemen, against Belasco. Lenny, how you feeling for it?
Feeling real good, I'm in shape, I'm ready. I'm expecting a good fight. I know the kid can fight, he's pretty decent. It's going to be a great show. I'm coming from on a great show, and like I said, I'm in shape, I'm ready to go, I'm all for it.
Alright, what do you know about Belasco so far? Have you seen him fight?
I seen him fight one time against Victor Vasquez, and he looked pretty decent, pretty sharp. And good kid. I have nothing bad to say about him. And like I said, I'm looking for a great fight. Looking forward to fighting him, and it's gonna be a good show.
This one's for the trainer Billy. I know you've seen Belasco fight a couple times.
Plenty of times.
What's your assessment of him? You know, do you think it's the right fight for your guy?
He's pretty good, pretty fundamentally sound. But we got a game plan. As we usually do. We can capitalize on some of his weaknesses. And obviously, we can't disclose the weaknesses because a general never gives away his game plan or his war plan before we go to battle. But Lenny's more than capable of capitalizing on the man's mistake.
Okay. Alright, like we were discussing earlier, you're at a certain point of your career. Well, sometimes you think they bring you in to test a fighter out. Where would you say you're at right now? Where would a win take you, more or less?
Well, more or less, this win here, it put me in position, for a good, decent fight after this fight. I gotta get through this guy first, and once come Friday night and everything goes well, everything's all said and done at the 6 rounds, and I come out victorious. I'm just waiting for a call, for a good, decent fight, and we just take it from there. But right now, I'm glad to work with this fight right now and get through Belasco first and foremost.
Okay. So Belasco, I would say this is his biggest step up, the biggest fight of his career. I don't know if you'll agree with that or not, but we were discussing earlier as well. You two been together for what? This is your 18th fight now?
Yeah, it's the 18th fight.
I mean, just reel off some of the experience you had together, some of the fighters you've been in with, where you've been.
We've been all over.
We've been all over, for the little bit of time that we've been together, and we've been in some great fights, and I mean all the fights that I've been in since me and Billy been together been 50-50 fights. Is the only thing, I was my own worst enemy. Not being in shape and just taking fights on short notice, and but it pays off. It has its up and down. I've won a bunch of them, but I also won a bunch of them and still got the short end of the stick. But I'm not gonna mention any names, but I mean it is what it is, and I've been in there with the best. I've been in there, Mario Santiago, who just fought for a world title. Jose Andres Hernandez, Jorge Teran, these guys are decent guys, you know what I mean? I've been in there with them.
Don't forget Kumba.
Melvin Kumba, of course, Monty Clay, good fighter,
ranked fighter right now.
Yes, he's ranked, and he's in position. I mean, I've been in there with the best, in my era. So, Belasco, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to say anything bad, but it's just, it's just another fight for me. Another fight that I can win. Okay,
and it's this is a new Alhambra fight. Not everybody be able to get out there for the night. Just like in your words, I guess. How do you work together as a team, or how would you describe your style as a fighter, like in your words, for those who haven't had the opportunity to see you live yet?
Versatile. Me and Billy, we work on many different things, and I'm an aggressive fighter, and learning, I'm working on boxing and moving. Working on angles and just sharpening up on certain things. And I think it's coming together.
Yeah, it's coming together.
Things don't happen overnight, and a little bit of time, but it's coming together. It's coming together.
All right, it's cool.
We're working on making adjustments off of different styles.
Absolutely.
Because you can't give guys the same look every round. The guy can figure it out and make his adjustments. So the key is he might box 1 round, he might counter punch 1 round, he might be aggressive 1 round. It all depends on what the guy brings to the table. Because when the same way as he's making the adjustments in the fight, we're making adjustments in the corner, then between rounds, we put our heads together, you know what I mean? What I don't see, he sees. What he don't see, I see. Because I might see something different that he don't see, and he might see something that I don't see. Because it's not about egos, it's about winning. A lot of people say, oh man, stick their chest out, I'm the greatest trainer that ever did it. Yeah, well, you're only as good as what you got on the stool, Pop. let's keep it real, you know what I mean? Because, you know, he's a smart guy, you know what I mean, tough, you know, and sometimes, unfortunately, he came up short in fights that I thought, well, I know that we won, but, you know, when you go against the house, it is what it is. But he's learned from that, because everything in life is a lesson, whether it's good or bad, it's a lesson, right? And certain guys that he came up short against, he would have clearly beaten if his mind was on the task at hand, but sometimes, you know, his mind wasn't where it should have been, but that's fine, because if you're going in there with top guys, and you're coming up short, because your mind ain't on the job, and you still ain't getting took out of it, then obviously you must be doing something right.
You bring up a good subject while I'm here. Many have heard about Lenny's great fight last year, hands down, 2007 Philly fight of the year.
I worked it, there's a difference.
Alright, well Lenny, let me ask you. Billy brings up the point. A lot of the times when you go up against the house, you come up short.
Right.
You're at the Blue Horizon fight against technically the then pushed Blue Horizon fighter.
Okay.
Did you go in there thinking you absolutely needed a knockout to win?
Best camp we ever had.
Yes sir. Yeah, I had to go in there and stop this guy. And I mean, this guy's good fighter, tough guy. I mean, tough as nails, and kid is tremendous condition, and you know I know I had to go in there and beat this guy, stop this guy, and knock him out. And fortunately, you know, I pulled it off in the 6th round, which made the greatest fight of the year. 2007 was the greatest fight of the year. You know, I went down in the 2nd round, but came back.
Show him the stat. 2007 fight of the year, baby.
There we go.
That's the body shot at Dumpty.
Definitely, it was a tremendous fight. A heck of a fight on both parties, on both sides. Elad put up a great fight. I put up a great fight, and it gets no better than that.
You think they'll ever come calling again for a rematch?
I doubt it.
If they do, I'm not interested in, because like I said, you know, I'm after this fight, I'm done fighting at 140. I'm going back down to my weight where I'm comfortable at, and you know, that fight happened in 2000, and I'm leaving in 2007. There's no more rematches for me. I'm going back down to where I'm comfortable at, and this will be my last fight at 140 against Belasco. So.
All right, yeah, like you said, I don't know if we mentioned that on camera. What would you say your proper fighting weight is? Like right now, you're fighting at 140, but you think you're pretty heavy at this weight, aren't you? For you.
I feel sluggish. By the way, you know, I feel real strong, but I'm sluggish. I'm heavy on my feet, and I don't feel too comfortable at 140. But my fight weight is between 130 and 135. I'm more comfortable there, and that's what I'm working on, getting myself back down to between 130 and 135.
Okay. So I guess one of the last questions here, I guess for Billy, how did you two come together as a team? Is there any rhyme or reason that you two met up, or?
Just one day I asked them if they needed some help in the cut department, you know, and. He's like, nah, his manager Todd was like, nah, we'll be alright. So I said, alright, you know, if you need it, you know. And it wasn't about the money. I said, look, I just do it to help you out. If you like the way I worked, then, you know, hire me next time. If not, it's good. And he liked the way I worked, and then things went from there, you know.
Absolutely, and then it really came about that me and Billy got together is when I was fighting Dave Evans, another kid from Delaware, and southpaw kid, good kid. Billy was showing me, you know, how to fight against southpaw. He was working with me, and you know, and then I stood with Billy from there on. We just stood together, and a lot of great days. You know, had our ups and downs.
And you say there's been ups, there's been downs in the career. 2009, it's a new year, Daddy.
Yeah, it's a new year.
Yeah, new Freddie Pummel.
New year, and looking forward to this year. And you know, what happened in 2008 and 2007, that's behind me. I'm looking forward to the future and looking for good things, for great things to happen this year for me. And I believe it's going to happen.
All right, Billy,
So too.
we'll wrap it up. You know, the Philly fans are going to see this, probably be up on YouTube for those around the world who know the name. Anything you want to say in closing here?
I just want to say, you know, Lenny's a lot better than his record, but unfortunately, you know, a lot of times he took fights on short notice because, you know, in hard economical times, you got to feed the family, you know what I mean? So he took fights that maybe he shouldn't have took, and, well, actually, I know he took a lot of fights that he shouldn't have took, and he still did well in these fights, you know what I mean? If you give the man enough time to properly prepare, you know, same thing happened with Elad, what happened, you know, to 90% of the guys out there at 135.
All right, well, that's a wrap.
At 35 pounds, you know, he could go with the best in the world. If the right Lenny shows up on the right night, it's a done deal, you know what I mean? If the wrong Lenny shows up on the right night, it's still going to be a hard night for the other guys, so, you know. But I think he got his mind together, he's doing everything right, doing what we asked him. Show him the tie. Look, we got him on these tie joints. Everybody thinks that Kelly Parvick started this, but I've been doing this for the last 8 to 9 years, you know what I mean? So So, you know, we got a lot of good conditioning programs here.
All right, we're here at the Oven, the famous Oven in North Philly.
The Oven.
Let me get a quick whirl around so everybody gets an idea of what they talk about.
The smallest gym in the city, but it gets the job done. It's not size, it's quantity.
All right, well, everybody listening in.
Quality, baby, you know what I mean?
Lenny DeVictoria versus Ryan Belasco, January 16th at the new Alhambra Power Productions. Check it out.